G'day everyone. I've made a video about the Egyptian pyramids possibly concealing Mayan looking or Inca looking step pyramids, and in this video I want to suggest that they are concealing much more. They are concealing other Egyptian architecture, the likes of which they would have built when these pyramids were built. And in particular, I want to suggest the Great Pyramid conceals a Buddhist stupa or two. In particular, a type of stupa called a pagoda. Probably at least two pagodas are in here. One of them is a real pagoda, one of them is more a representation of a pagoda. So let's have a look. And one of the things that intrigued me personally about the Grand Gallery was the outline. Basically what it looks like. If you look at the back, do you see the structure? It's really quite interesting. The structure is tower-like with this recessing. It's as if it looks almost like a lighthouse or a tower, perhaps a tower to heaven, and that's essentially what a pyramid was. It was a tower to heaven, just like it says in the Bible. So as you walk along the Grand Gallery, up from where the Queen's Chamber is towards the King's Chamber, at the end there's a corridor down there which leads into the King's Chamber past a few blocked doors which used to be blocked. You are walking along the bottom of a representation of a tower. And the thing that this represents the most is essentially a stupa, really. Something like this. Something like that. And this is the poorer of the two concealed pagodas inside the Great Pyramid. There's a better one coming up. Now, this is essentially what a tower looks like. That is perhaps representational of a tower. It's like a tower room. So these are found across Asia. We don't know what they were for. And I'm suggesting they were found in Egypt as well. That is called a pagoda, even though it's a stupa. So the two are kind of interchangeable in many ways. And here is some Egyptian evidence of something like a pagoda. It seems to be a pillar, but it's got these levels on it which are quite interesting, as if they're extra roofs or something. These are two gods holding it or something, or they're establishing it. And I think we can assume these were found all over Egypt once, and they've all been knocked down. This was their type of architecture. That's a pagoda. They were associated with funerary cults. We don't know exactly what they were for. Another pagoda. That's a chapel. The reasons I'm showing you all this will become apparent. That could have been a pagoda in Egypt that the Greeks converted into a lighthouse. I made a video about this. And the reason I say that is the classical Greeks did not build these things. They only built this one when they bumped into Egypt. So there was something already here on this island. And they thought, wouldn't it be a good idea to make a lighthouse? I'm not sure what's going on here. It seems to be life. The pillar of life. Not sure. And if you look at, these are amulet representations of this. This is called a jet pillar, basically. The jet pillar. And these, they look like, almost like modern day television towers or lighthouses. This is something like the older architecture of Egypt as it relates to Asia. And if you look at, okay, I'm going to show you the second stupa. So the first stupa is, the second pagoda. The first pagoda is essentially the scope of the Grand Gallery. The second pagoda, if you look at that, that is a pagoda. Okay? So, look, there is a pagoda right there. So, what's going on? What's up with that? Those chambers here are not accessible unless you... They basically dynamited to get into there, and it's even got a roof. Now, there's two reasons why there might be a pagoda there. Firstly, from an engineering perspective, this prevents the flat-roofed king chamber from imploding. The queen's chamber has a different type of roof. It has a regular roof like a house does, and that could have prevented it from imploding, so it doesn't need that. On the other hand, if this whole thing is associated with a funerary cult, as people think, then why wouldn't that be a pagoda? That's a representation of a pagoda. You enter it and you're inside a massive pagoda. Again, that's the shape of the thing, you see? The shape of the Grand Gallery. That's the King's Chamber, and there is no... You wouldn't get a feeling that you were at the bottom of a pagoda, but you are. Again, this is a type of pillar that they had, or is it a pagoda, an Egyptian pagoda? And it's associated with this god here, Ptah, and I've made a video about this, that he is Buddha. So there is a strong Asian influence, I think. Many of the Old Kingdom people were from Central Asia. And of course I'm talking about the earlier Buddha, the fire god, not Gautama Buddha. This is a pagoda with one level. This is a pagoda with many levels. Again, there's the pagoda. The Queen's Chamber is more like a regular chapel or a pagoda with one level. So, you go through there, just ignore what this says, Hall of Truth and Darkness, whatever. That's like a chapel, that's like a grander chapel. And there we go. And if you look at that, I think you will agree that there is a similarity going on. And we don't quite know why. No one knows what this is truly for, why it looks like that. Something interesting I've noted, and other people have noted, the bottoms of these are flat, like the bottoms of that. The tops are curved upwards like that, like they are roofs. They have left them unfinished. That is the Queen's Chamber, and that doesn't need that extra structure for reinforcing because it's got this. Maybe that's the reason. The Queen's Chamber, the entry to the Queen's Chamber also has this sort of feature. It's sort of like a tower. Again, jet pillar. Is that a pagoda? And that's an Egyptian chapel. I think it's from later times. And this influenced Greek chapels, Roman chapels, and even churches, Germanic churches from the Dark Ages. I think this is Britain's oldest church. This is Bradford-on-Avon. It's a beautiful town, and they found this in the 19th century. They said, wow, this is old. In Ireland you stumble over these everywhere, made out of a different type of stone, but it's very rare to have something from the Dark Ages in Britain. There's a long line of inspiration from Egypt to the Roman Empire. Okay, thanks very much.